Okay, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to draw the front and rear airfoil. So to get started, we're going to move over here to our browser, and we're going to right click on F1 Car Assembly, and we're going to go ahead and select Edit Sketch. Okay, remember, when you see a grid, you can draw. I'm going to go ahead and roll my mouse wheel so I can zoom in a little bit closer to this rear area of my car. You'll find that the grid gets much more dense. You can still see the 5mm blocks like you have on your graph paper, but then you see these small individual 1mm blocks. Now, a very useful tool is your mouse and holding down the mouse wheel. Just clicking it down, you'll see a hand appear on my screen. This allows you, when you've zoomed in really close, to move left, right, or even up and down in that space without having to zoom back out. So, to get started, we're actually going to be using the arc tool. If I click on this drop down here, you have three choices: center point arc, tangent arc, and 3-point. This is the one you'll probably use, if not all the time, most often. So let me go ahead and click on 3-point arc. Now, as many of you probably have, like me, you're probably going to have a starting point right here, which is at the bottom of this wheel well. Now I'm going to go ahead and simply click once. You'll see that the mouse snaps to that point. Click once with my left mouse button. On an arc, since you're using a 3-point, your second point is always going to be the end point. So I'm going to move vertically, and you'll start to see a number appear in a blue box. You want to pay close attention to that number, and also look at your sheet of paper where you wrote the overall height of this part. On my paper, I know the overall height of my rear airfoil is 23mm. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there at 23. Now, this is not where I'm going to click. I'm now going to move directly over to the right. So you'll notice I went vertically first, found my overall height. Now I'm going to move directly over to the right, and this number is going to adjust, which is fine. And I'm going to click somewhere right along that wheel well. Let me click a second time. Now my third click, as you can see as I move out, this is my tangent point. My third click is going to be anywhere along that blue outline. Let me go ahead and click a third time. Now you have your mark. Okay, so here we have the inside of my rear airfoil. I'm now going to click a second time here. And once again, some of you might be using the line tool next, but I know many of you will be using some type of curve or arc tool. Now, sometimes people ask me, how do I know where to click this second point? Well, look at your graph paper, pick up a ruler, and you can measure the distance from, for example, this corner vertically to where that point is located. On my paper, it happens to be at the 12mm mark, which is right about here. I'm just counting those small little grid spaces on my screen. I'm 12mm up from that corner. So I'm going to go ahead and click a second time. And then I'm going to go ahead and bend this outward. And once again, the question is, where do I stop? Well, a lot of times it's just by what you see and comparing what you see on the screen to what you drew on your paper. Let me go ahead and click a third time. Keep in mind, when you're not satisfied with something, just hit Control-Z and try it again. Now I'm going to hit Control-Y since I'm happy with what I have here. And let me go ahead and once again select Arc. I'm going to click once, twice, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend like so. Okay, so I'm comparing what I have on an Inventor to what I did on paper. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on my mouse wheel, and I'm just going to move towards the front of the car. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw my front airfoil. Now, this pink line you see here is something we're going to be using for the body. This actually happens to be 20mm from the bottom. Well, it just so happens that I know that my front airfoil is 20mm tall, so I'm going to kind of use this in a moment as a reference. So let me first start with my arc. I like to first draw this part of my part first. Let me click once, twice. Let me go ahead and click a third time along the wheel well. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some lines. So I'm going to click my line tool once. According to my drawing, I have a line that starts here, and it goes outwards 2mm. Now I could sit here and try to find it, but I'm just going to move in the direction I want the line to be drawn. I'm going to type in 2 on my keyboard, and I'm going to hit Enter. Okay. Now you'll notice I'm still in line mode, so I'm going to hit my escape key to get out of line mode. I can either hit line mode here or just hit L. My next line is here. Click, click, and now I'm going to move up, so I'm going to click again. I'm going to move vertically, and once again I have a 2 millimeter mark here. Okay, now to get out of any type of command, just hit your escape key. And last but not least, I'm going to use my arc once again. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's just a matter of comparing what's on the screen to what's on your papers. That's my first click, that's my second click, and I'm going to go ahead and bend this. Now be very careful. I would not do something as extreme as this. Let me just go ahead and click. That is way too thin. That's more than likely going to break. So let me hit Control Z. Let me draw that again. Let me go ahead and click once, twice. Let me bend this in. I'm going to be very mindful of that bend. And also, this would probably create a lot of drag. That's too sharp of a arc. So I'm going to go ahead and have a little bit more of a slope here to allow that air to deflect over the wheel. Okay? Now, if you ever find there's something that you want to delete that you did earlier, I'm going to hit my escape key. Let's say I don't want this line that I drew earlier. Okay? Well, one thing I can do is just hover my mouse over the line, right click, and I can hit delete. Let me hit Control Z. Another thing we can do is we can click and drag, but be careful because you might select more than one piece of geometry here. So we've got to be very careful with clicking and dragging. I've got to be very much aware of what I'm selecting. This time I selected the line, and once again I could just hit my delete key and get rid of it that way. So let me hit Control Z. Okay, for this video I'm just going to show you the front and rear airfoil. We'll go ahead in the next video, we'll talk about side pods and we'll talk about spoilers. Let me go ahead and hit the Finish Sketch button, and let me go ahead and save my work.